Hello everyone, a very informative video for all of you. Here in this video, I will be covering up all the formulas related to arithmetics. Okay, so let's start with the first formula. The first formula is of LCM and HCF that a very simple formula that LCM of any two numbers, which is A and B, and the HCF of two numbers. If you will find the product of these two numbers, then it is equals to the product of those two numbers. That is the first formula for the arithmetics. Second formula, let's talk about fraction. A very basic formula for fraction is that the fraction, any fractional value is equals to the concept of required upon total. That is a very important concept, a very basic for making out any fraction. Now, if a value A is directly proportional to value B, then you will represent it with this way. And if a value which is inversely proportional, you have to represent by this way. So in directly proportional, if two units like A and B are directly proportional, then if you will increase this particular value, it will create the same effect on A. If you will decrease value B, it will decrease A also. So this is the directly proportionality. It means it will create a same kind of effect. Then inversely proportional. Inversely proportional means clear by the name only that whenever you are creating an effect on B, it will create a reverse effect on A. So just discuss about these three formulas. Now moving to the next formulas. Now I will be talking about percentages. So percentages, first of all, if you want to convert any fractional or any decimal value into percentage, you have to multiply that fractional decimal value from 100. That is the very important thing that you should know. And if you want to come back from percentage to fractional or decimal, you need to divide it from 100. Okay. Next formula, percentage change. Percentage change. How you will be finding out percentage change? Very basic thing. Percentage change is always equals to the final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100. So whenever you want to find out the percentage change value, you have to subtract initial value from final value. In upon, you will always get initial value multiplied by 100. Next formula, profit. Now this profit and loss is directly linked with percentage only. So profit, whenever you have a selling price, your selling price is higher than the cost price, that is your profit case. Selling price means the price at which you are selling something, and the cost price, the price at which you have bought something before. So obviously you will buy something, then you will sell something. So in entire profit and case thing, your cost price is your initial value, IV, and your selling price is your final value. Very important concept. So profit, if you want to find the profit, then you have to subtract initial value or your cost price from the selling price to get the profit. Selling price minus cost price. In case of loss, the things are just reverse. Your cost price is greater than your selling price. So you have to do CP minus SP here. Profit percentage. If you want to find the profit percentage, you have to do SP minus CP upon CP multiplied by 100. And if you want to find the loss percentage, you have to do CP minus SP upon CP multiplied by 100. Some very important formulas related to percentage. I have written all of them here only. Now, let's talk about percentage value or a percentage change value. For example, there was a value, there was an initial value. I can represent that initial value by I, and then I have a final value. That is your F. there is a percentage change. There is a percentage change of R%. Now, change can be anything. It can be a positive or it can be negative. Okay, so it can be a positive change or it can be a negative change. So, if you want to get the final value from the initial value where you know the percentage change, the formula is your final value is equals to initial value multiply by 100 plus R upon 100 in case of an increment. And if you have encountered a decrement value or your value got decremented, then it is equals to, the final value will be equals to initial value 100 minus R upon 100 multiply. So this is the case for decrement. Same formula. This is a very little difference of it, that is of plus and minus only. Now there is a advanced formula or there is a modified formula for this case when you are encountering multiple changes. For example, there is a value of initial value and it got changed by R1, R2, R3 and R4 dot dot dot. So if you are having multiple changes, if there is a multiple change occurring, the formula will be modified by your FV equals to your IV, that is initial value 100 plus R1 upon 100 multiply by 100 plus R2 upon 100 multiply 100 plus R3 upon 100, and this series of multiplication will continue here depending upon the value of R1, R2 and R3. If there is a profit or there is an increment, the value of R2 will be, if there is an increment, R will be positive, and if there is a decrement, R is negative. Next formulas, next important formulas, exponents. Now there are many formulas related to exponent. Let's start with, first of all, a number raised to power 1 is actually representing itself. A number raised to power 0 is equals to 1 always. A number raised to power -1 is actually a reciprocal of that number. Now, if there are two numbers which have similar bases and different powers, and then multiplication, you can combine them by adding their power. If there are two numbers where the bases are same, which has their base same, and the powers are different and the numbers are in division, you can combine them by reducing their power by m minus n. Okay. Now, if you are dealing with multiple or a series of powers, for example, x raised to power m and further raised to power n and further raised to power p, in that case, if you want to get the combined effect, you have to multiply all those power to get the combined effect, m and p. So these are again some important formulas of exponents. Now I need to erase them to talk about further formulas. Now, if your bases are different and powers are same, for example, x and y are two numbers, they are different and their powers are same, you can expand them by this way. You can expand them by this way, xn multiply by yn. If you have two numbers which is in a division form and they have combined same power, they have same power and are in division, you can further separate them by this way. Any number or any given number which is raised by a fractional power of 1 by n, it represents its 1 by n, it represents its nth root. Nth root. For example, if you are dealing with x 1 by 2, it means you have to find the square root of that number. If you have 1 by 3, you have to find out the cube root of that number. And if you're dealing with 1 power 4, you have to find the fourth root of it. And it will continue. Now, what will happen if I have to deal with fractional power? For example, a number raised to power p by q. So here the power is fractional. So in this case, your p represents the repetition and q represents nth root. An example will help you to understand it better. X 3 by 2. It means you have to write x 3 times and then you have to find the square root of it. Okay, so those were all the important formulas related to exponent. Now I'm moving to speed. The very basic formula of speed is equals to distance upon time, the distance covered in a given time. Distance upon time. Next formula, again a very important formula, average speed, which is equals to total distance upon total time. Total distance covered in total time. Now, whenever I teach this particular formula to my students, I tell them never use the concept of mean in finding the average speed. Never ever use this formula of total distance upon total number of values, which is a basic concept of mean. Never use this formula. Then case of boat and swimmer. If any boat or any swimmer is moving in a river, so in that case, there can be two cases. For example, first case is a case of upstream when direction of river and boat is different. So if the speed of the river is S1 and the speed of the boat is S2, so their resulting speed, your resulting speed will be S2 minus S1. Speed will be S2 minus S1. In case of downstream, the direction of both the swimmer and the river or the boat, sorry, the river and the boat, it is in the same direction. So in this case, the resulting speed is equals to S1 plus S2. So I have covered all the important formulas related to arithmetics, and these formulas will help you to understand better or to revise all of those formulas in a quick time before your exam. Thank you.